Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Suraj Singh of Bharat, India. On this day, 14th February 2025, 7 a.m. Monday. My last video broke at 2 hours 12 minutes, so I continue with that. Now, in this video, unfortunately, it happens, and what to do the other way, and we can see that certification, etc. And I was on coordination engineering, and it was unfortunately I missed many points there. I go back and see what I was talking about. In that, many points were missed. Unfortunately, it happened, and it was 42, I think, point 42. I don't actually know. Yes, it was somewhere here. I checked last one is para 42 here, and before that was on here. You can say here likewise. It is in Pata 41, it says to be very frank in stating definition of coordination. In a nutshell, it can be acceptable to describe an engineer who can procure all related professionals belonging respective individual discipline onto a firm and final agreement or whatever involved project component or components and whatever activity applicable on a set of combination of all architectural, structural and services drawings free from every clash, or it may be named coordination drawings or coordinate drawings for all practical work purposes, because we are talking coordination and coordination of various services on one project. It may be buildings or it may be oil fields, foundations or whatever. And coordination applies everywhere, and we can say coordination is affected only in engineering, but it happens everywhere. It's true that it's not only engineering field where coordination is required. Coordination work is required in all branches of other professions. It is useful in profession as well as in administration, and it applies to work of governments. That's also important. It's not very specific that coordination is affected only in engineering, but also applicable elsewhere in other professions as well as in administration, and it further be carried forward to work of governments all over the world. And it's often reported that many schemes could not take off because there was no coordination and there was no information available at budget stage and budget, and you can say post budget at initiation stage of scheme. There was some information lacking, not available, or because of, you can say, non-availability of capable professionals or administrators who could either procure or import or force to join all respective personnel to one page. That failure led to failure of commencement of scheme, and if that happens, money also is returned back. It is the way. Consequence in case of failure, we can say, when we talk of proposing or propagating or proroguing certain products, certain you can say project, it's a question mark because of lack of information or lack of some other policy requirement. Consequences in case of failure of that scheme leads to propagation of all such projects for longer duration, resulting budget cost, dissolution, and rethinking to be made on every such project for sustainability. Nowhere in the entire world we can find capable ministers who may be able to lead ministries in such a way that works move according to required degree of coordination mechanism, but it is not as easy we are talking of. Now, these examples we are given in foregoing, these explanations have been charted out for purpose of conducting necessary brainstorming activity that may be called for by all others for contemplating on this essential purpose. Because project means absolute and optimum use of funds and not to waste funds for achieving futile results. But we cannot expect non-professionals to realize these facts. While handling engineering projects, every engineer has to rely on certain specific disciplines or branches of various engineering disciplines. We have at least 15 known branches of gross engineering and building engineers, or architectural engineers, or civil engineers, or structural or electromechanical engineers, security related engineers, information technology engineers, 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 etc. are required to work in team structure to produce designs, details as well as while handling engineering projects. Every engineer has to rely on certain specific disciplines of many engineering branches that we are named all here also. And some of them are building engineering, architectural engineers, or civil engineers, or structural engineers, or electromechanical engineers, security related engineers, information technology engineers, etc. are required to work in team structure to produce designs, details, as well as to carry out execution work at supervision level as well as at construction levels. You can say required to work in team structure to produce designs, details, as well as to carry out execution work at supervision level as well as at construction level, because coordination is required at every stage. It is required at administrative stage, or when you have to agree on this whatever mega project. And also you can say execution at supervision level as well as at construction level, and without designs, coordinated designs or spatial designs we have just gone through, we cannot say that design is perfect, and we don't want to see any problems after construction of something. And you find a design in construction something was missing, and then it's a big deal, means you have to, a big problem in fact, how to set that right physically, practically. And that's part of spatial coordination inside all walls. And how should we prefer to? Even on buildings, we do not have all complexities that are noticed on plant facilities or chemical processing projects, which location area spreads into many square miles and may consume many years for each project for design and executions. On such projects, we can say, on such projects, there can be fixed no limits to make sure that industry keeps promoting towards meeting more and more capacity requirements, which means that green projects are raw one, but once green attains first success on it, then it becomes brown for next you can say Next, either augmentation of its capacity, potential, or for enhancing certain standards, which means project starts, but it can be prolonged, it can be made more use, and that is what we say is important. Means, after all, it is long life projects, particularly if you say building projects. Buildings are also available in plants, and buildings can stay up to many, many decades. It is true, though, initially in plants, processing plants, structures are considered only for 30 years or little more, but in buildings which are off sea, which are located in cities or villages, those may stay, those may work up to maybe 50 to 100 years or more. And that's why it's not only today or coming decades. We take into consideration while doing the science, and we have to, in fact, coordinate accordingly. If building is safe and services cannot be hammered out, there may be the other problems, but not the structural problems in case we have difference of thinking, difference of opinion, and architectural engineers, civil engineer, along with the structural engineers, and with support of all services engineers, projects can be handled with success, provided alliance works professionally, respecting and honoring each other project design and executive member, complying with project coordination, and more specifically quality demanded requirements. When it is stated about quality requirement, which indicates that quality must be used for purpose of conducting coordination and discipline execution in each and every respect, it's unfortunately quality requirement has been misled and its failure has been happening by misunderstanding about quality discipline in its entirety. It's very strong message talking about when it is stated about quality requirement. Again, I say, when it is stated about quality requirement, which indicates that quality must be used for purpose of conducting coordination and discipline execution in each and every respect. Unfortunately, quality requirement has been misled, and its failure has been happening by misunderstanding about quality discipline on its entirety. As a concern, at the point, quality works in each and every discipline in life as well as in every profession, whereas engineering is no different. Quality must be used as a requirement in all works, including world of quantity and world of quality. Also, we can say, in fact, we can say that factually speaking, individual's quality is known by its professional, particularly personally efficient efficiency achieved by degree of work or population or production quality, incumbent professional processes, and then further assessment can be calculated and or charted out about to know its level of work and specifically coordination competency attained by individual professionals. We can say quality is not automatic. In fact, coordination is not automatic even if we use software. Software is software, it's not pinpointed. It may give something, it may not give something, and that's simple. I've not experienced that software, but I'm not sure about softwares because there are softwares and deficiencies as well among software. So we may say quality works in each and every discipline in life as well as every profession, whereas engineering is no different. Quality must be used as a requirement in all works, including world of quality and coordination. And as I said, depends on professional who does quality, who leads the quality system. And I think there's no group requirement, it's individual mind that acts in that. And if there are problems, we shall be solved. You have to discover problems beyond doing some job, some activity. And we have to discuss problems at times, bids also, we have to discuss at times of closure of project. Means at every stage interface it is required, or how we have to move further and how to correct it if it's NCR. Likewise, we can say we have many stages where engineering coordination is required for everything, because it is not simple sentence of engineering, it is big world, and where therefore we can say coordination is very specialist project, specialist job. It's like, all time you're in different situation. Therefore, you can say, as far as coordination is concerned, it's very important, significant job, and we cannot just scale one measure. You can scale one scale. We have to measure in many scales, and many skills are required. Everybody is an engineer, but skills are also required. Just having, of course, it is measurement of skills when you pass engineering, but added engineering, value addition, more and more advancement is necessary for making efficient engineer. And that's where, it is experience one has got how to move and handle it, or it is just experience for not knowledge that states can mar our plans. No other way exists that quality can be achieved proficiently without working on expert coordination for doing right work first time every time and controlling on it use of each and every resource at optimum level. And to do this, to do quality work and right time right work, coordination is important weapon. There's nothing else that carpenter cannot do. We should realize this fact as well. So I says that certain points that are required to be discussed for purpose of project executions or prosecutions, or one can call it organizational handling, respecting construction work activities in both disciplines of site work as well as coordination, without which works cannot be completed. Or so we have seen importance of quality and coordination on project. If you have done a good project, you have delivered something, then yes, it's not one scheme or another scheme or one act or other act. There are many disciplines and equal number of. Yes. So if we go further on the consideration of these points, we'd like to see for this purpose been attempted to write certain points herein so that one could get an understanding about works requirements in profession of building construction as well as plants facilities or processing plants construction, which points certainly detail out in line to flow of required works. This is collected long back in my book, What Writing in 92 and 96. I used that publication, and it's therefore it's now been too long. Yet works have not changed. Works have not changed in terms of quality and coordination, despite availability of digital world everywhere. Coordination basis continues, and confidence than we do by conducting coordination personally. It is something that we do not have to every home with peace and what must they do. You know, coordination cannot be avoided. In fact, as I said, it has now been too long. Yet works have been changed in terms of quality, in terms of coordination, in terms of procedures, in terms of mechanization. Digital world exists, but coordination is exceptional. It has to be conducted. It can be conducted using BIM, but BMI, but I don't think that would serve total purpose. And only this poor public. Let us consider following points: activities, etc. in works to be carried out. Again, I repeat, on sites or elsewhere. Or we can classify these into certain categories, or also can call them stages of project working, such as visualization of an idea to be converted into useful permanent work, technicalities, involvement in its entire scope, and we can say carrying out works at site, all works and testing and commissioning for converting project into operational unit or occupation unit, startup of facility or occupation of building. This is very normal. Division of various facts. As we said, carrying if you see number 1 here, visualization of an idea to be converted into useful permanent work. It's an important part. We have to think of this in different way, but it's really important part here, and that we can say important in many senses, not in one sense. It has got many senses, and it's now 10 degrees. It's gone down, and that's the problem. We are cold. 13 to 10, it has come 3 degrees drop. Oh, be seriously, I should be serious about this, you know. So that's why I'm feeling cold. Well, no problem. We have to think on this, we have to work on this. There's no other way that can say, there's no other way that can save us from this impact. So let's consider following points, and let's say visualization is number 1, and that's kind of useful permanent work. Visualization, of course, you know, it's imagination, or it is something we got imagined and we have to use, you have to physically produce that. And you can say, when it is permanent work in that position, it's technical involvement in its entire scope. And this is a gross technical environment, and carrying out work on site. That's another way, means you have to carry out every activity, every work, every portion of that. And then to test and commission all what you did, and then you start up production. So in these lines, it's not easy, it's not perfect. So here we can jump into a conclusion that coordination is very important subject for carrying out job on site, physical activity, and before that intellectual based design coordination is important. Design coordination and that design conversion into field work, site work, that coordination, executive coordination you can say. So design coordination is original coordination where we have to fit in all services to an extent we should not find any problem site. We try to avoid that, but it doesn't happen. In fact, coordination at site is again important. And then there's no complete design coordination among various disciplines becomes a big issue. It takes a lot of time to confirm and find solutions, I think, and in that time work should be done. So coordination is a very important activity for both purposes, and not simply we can say it's in construction or in designs, and design is full of coordinations because there's so many details in designs and all designs should be in same language, same post reference is not possible. So we have to cut out sometimes. So when we go further, we'll find this now is very easy to understand coordination procedure, and we have to think of this one time, other time. We move forward and go up, and we say where we stand now for going. Prefaced points are required to be exploded into world of explanation, into various heads and subheads, and these points, of course, I try to explain that ultimately we have two requirements. One is a reliable design, and other is reliable work on site. We have to think and concentrate on this for whatever we do. Designs can be simple but difficult, and designs can be difficult but work is simple. It depends on what sort of work is this. So designer has to think not only structural design, we're talking of all designs, we're talking of multifaceted designers. And the working out comprehensive designs for project in each and every respect, and that's also requires this. These brief points are required to be exploded into world of explanations, various heads and subheads, which we are supposed to do, but we are not doing that. And work out comprehensive designs for project in each and every respect is very important part. Working out comprehensive design for a project in each and every respect. And design including architectural details, structural details, services details, internal external landscape and utilities, and the preparation of working of designs, running relevant heads, details in all disciplines also required for various legal purposes. We have to be little impetus on that. And composition, I can say composition of formation of documents, package for purpose of either charting out calls for bidding or discipline is very much necessary once all the signs are finally available, and accuracy at this stage much helps in starting various controls on scheme of project. Preparation of all required documents to be included on bids is bid for allowing construction experts to work out respective prices to implement project to successful delivery. And among above structural part of documents and finishes part of architectural as well as other activities dominate cost factors that can be marginalized per POQ and decided required and demanded specifications pertinent to all disciplines involved. Drawing specifications is very serious issue, for it relates to each and every activity to be included on project. Specifications documentation is an extremely difficult technical and engineering requirement, which only an experienced professional in certain particular topic of subjects shall only be able to write successfully. Copying and paste system never works in writing specifications. Yes, in case certain specification lists are available in form of general specifications with some organizations for general activities. That wealth could be used for such general documentation. Otherwise, each and every specific item to be included on works requires drawings, detailed specification. There would be requirement of various chapters of specification for all sections of works, and if it is related to parts of each BOQ, that document shall be assistive. There is the requirement of various chapters of specification for all sections of works, and if it is related to parts of each POQ, that document shall be assistive. Documents for such subdisciplines must be charted out for typical rotation as well as for specific items in a reliable, professional way, for it impacts upon cost. So we have, whatever we have discussed here, so many requirements from to, we have designs. Let us say that's one world of coordination, that's very much imaginative world of coordination, and then you come on to construction, that's construction coordination, and in between there are a lot of preparations, because exclusive structural design is not this one part of construction world. The other parts are also important. We have to first of all give documents to all, and we have to clearly indicate somewhere which they are clear contact with, yeah, with, you know, so let's see. These points are very, very clear or unclear, doesn't matter, we have to think of them. Designs of all disciplines in construction we have to take care of. Working designs we have to take care of, because designs and working designs are different. Working designs is based on calculations. Calculations not easy. Our world. I was in 89. August. So what we say, preparation of working out designs and running relevant details, all disciplines are also required. And formation of documents is not very easy task, as it depends on those who understand contracts and those who can deal with contract, and those who write in this are all different people. And it's not necessary that writer of specifications can understand all inputs what are required in specifications. That can leave no room for suspicion, no room for ambiguity, and it's really very difficult task one has to understand. So work designs are running and all these BOQs and other purpose sections and elevations, working out designs for running relevant details in all disciplines also required for legal purposes as well. We have to see self-doing works, that means work should be speaking. Or it is the composition of formation of documents, package for purpose of either charting out calls or bidding invitation for self-doing these works. And we have self-doing means we have to have our own potential to decide. No, point here is not exactly what we are stating. Give me a few minutes, I'll be back. I'm just going to roof and come back, because I have to feed. Maybe by that time this video is over. I don't think so, but let us see what happens. helping me. This is not helping me. And what to do with that, I can't say. Still 0, 0, 0, 0. Sometimes I could not understand this sequence of signals. Still 0, 0, 10 seconds. Something has come now. Let me see if it works. Maybe it works. I was talking about BOQ preparation, which is a very significant requirement for bids or for working budget, because without quantities we can't calculate materials and amount. We can't do anything, and that's why BOQ is first requirement after designs are ready. And without designs, only budgetary BOQ can be given, which doesn't rely on real projects construction, which cannot direct. But let us hope when designs are ready, coordinated designs, not really 100% coordinated designs, working designs shall be worked later on, but we're talking of ordinary designs which can help in converting to working drawings, and of course the BOQ, which may be a directive one or indicative one, not a reliable one. In fact, reliability coefficient doesn't go to 100 in BOQs, but it is important for everybody because it includes items, it includes disciplines, it includes many necessary informations which are based on which calculations can be done. And respective prices to and finishes. We see that these BOQs, these documents, these actually relate to cost factors. We cannot dispense. We cannot stand irrelevant to them. We got some relations to them. These relations are significant. Every engineer should know quantity, works and projects for all purposes. Calculation, cost calculation, placing orders, and many other factors, and not only quantities but specifications as well. You have to think of specifications much more than quantity also, because we cannot think what we think is right. My thinking doesn't work sometimes because market cannot provide that item. Our market has got in many cases its own specifications, manufacturing specifications, production specifications, and because we have to procure materials and we have no other way but to inspect those materials, test those materials which are available, and then find out how this can be used. And only those referred details, or we can call them referred specifications, should be included on project. Otherwise, it's all poetry, it's all hypothetical. If you define something which cannot be made available by contractor, in that case I can say this is lack of experience of part of professionals and not contractors. You should have surveyed market first, and that is the job of designer. Before designing something only depending on formula and codes, and not too concerned about market. Not only your country market, but also imported world materials, where other countries are involved. And that's why it's a question of maturity, experience, and that's also a kind of coordination that you have to know from market what market gives. If market gives in common, your material shall be cheaper. And if you want a specific one only to your specifications, I think that is a way that leads to failure because it enhances cost and it takes time. And that's not easy for one. You can say you cannot convert a short lead item to long lead item. And that points we have to very carefully consider. Drawing specifications is a very, very serious issue, as I said, for it reaches to each and every activity to be included on project. Specification documentation is an extremely difficult technical and engineering requirement, which only an experienced professional in certain particular topic of subject shall only be able to write successfully. Copying and paste system never works in writing specifications. Yes, in case certain specification lists are available in form of general specifications, with some organization for general documentation. Otherwise, each and every specific item to be included on works requires drawing detailed specification. And we have to be very careful about this because general specifications are general. Maybe contractor do not, maybe contractor doesn't bother about that. Contractor or engineer, because this is general and we know this. No, don't worry about this. We have this document with us. And maybe they missed something and it's fault of both, you can say. Because generally specifications are specialized in particular many items of concrete, many items of finishing items, many activities of finishing items, you can say. It's all specific. On major projects, the generality lacks only in temporary or preparatory works. And sometimes even preparatory works are, you can say, patented one, or you can say proprietary work, on which you can say general specifications do not value because calculations are required for that. There would be requirement of various chapters of specifications for all sections of works. And if it's related to parts of each BOQ, the document shall be assistive. Documents for sub-disciplines, for the sub-disciplines must be charted out for typical rotations as well as for specific items in a reliable professional way, for it impacts upon cost. So point here is BOQ and specifications, which are backbone of bid and backbone of construction, backbone of budget also, because BOQ and specification can impact on budget allocations because at that time when somebody decides to budget, they don't think of high quality specifications or finishes, but during design, client changes mind and wants to use something which is not brought into contemplation at time of budget. And we have to therefore involve in making many more changes due to such cause, you can say cause of budgeting, initial budget. Well, ultimately project is going to shall be done by reality and not by budget. So it is a very great question one has to answer, one has to consider. Otherwise, it's no use. Indeed, aforesaid expressive heads amount to voluminous work, quantum, but it's necessary for every control on construction, time, duration required, cost necessary, and standard of quality requirements which would be dominated by sort of specifications to be included in that, and that sort of specification is a question here, how to select specifications, because there is no alternative, there is no option not to select or not to decide or not to work out quantity, because that is a must. But when you say specification, there can be alternative, there can be options. Okay, we do not like this specific, we can replace it with this one, or likewise you can say we want to keep this item within this price per square meter or per cubic meter. This you cannot say for concrete or for structural activities, we cannot say this for reinforcement, but for finishing items which may be expensive, we can reduce the specifications of those items. But at that late stage, which may not be useful, because you have to place order to import that material or to buy from a specific order, or you cannot convert that item to long lead items at that stage. It's also very worrisome issue here. Everything cannot be taken for granted, and that's what I'm saying. A forced expressive head amounts to voluminous work quantum, but it's necessary for every control on construction, time, duration required, cost necessary, and standard of quality requirement, which would be dominated by sort of specifications to be included. And that's why you say it's very important talk as far as contract documentation is concerned, real contract documents which would mar project of help project, and that's question mark here. And we can say initially all foregoing activities, though conducted off sites in offices of experts, yet are coordinated perfectly at all stages from design viewpoint, though major portion relates to design engineering domain and quantity engineering, also called so-called estimation. Some designs within this stage must be coordinated correctly to an extent possible among various disciplines, say between architectural and structural disciplines, structural and services disciplines, and all other disciplines, whatever involved. And I think I have to stop somewhere here for next time, because we have to be careful about everything, and it's really very important. Today we did much references, and references should be considered. I will take up from this point 70s onwards next time, and I'll add something to this also, as we have discussed, and let us see how AX shall we get the benefit of this, or we have to just move around. As far as this is concerned, and I close this at this moment, hoping that coordination engineering would help each and everybody who is serious and who has some interest in this. Thank you indeed.